Hiya! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to all across the Delaware Valley, the day after, as the Eagles, a grind out 15-12 win in New Orleans. All right, lots to do today. Lots to unravel and unwrap from this game. This is the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by Rite Aid. Any of your scripts, your fall allergies, flu shots, riteaid.com. All right, let's get to it, man, because this ultimately was a good win, all right? Despite some of the blemishes, and yeah, there were blemishes, which we'll get to, but ultimately, they go into New Orleans against a team that had looked spectacular in its first two games, and they won a grind-out game. And the most important piece of this thing has to do with the big picture. Because in the big picture, you look at the rest of the conference, there's a lot of flawed teams in this conference. So the fact is, you won and you're 2-1. And the best thing I saw was the defense. A week after that abysmal performance, Vic Fangio, all kinds of adjustments against a red-hot offense. He went to a 50-man front, the 5-man front. It freed up Zach Bond, moved Zach Bond and Kobe Dean closer to the line of scrimmage. Jalen Carter was a beast, flat-out beast yesterday. Controlled the line of scrimmage. Jordan Davis was terrific yesterday. He showed up in a monster way. Kenyon Mitchell is an elite corner. You could see it. Almost had the pick. Would have been a pick 6. He had great coverage against really good receivers. Rashid Shaheed, who was terrific, didn't hurt him all game. They tried to go with Kamara and ride the run game that had been so successful. New Orleans was run first and throw off the run, right? Like, that's the success. Carr was perfect because Kamara had established a run, and the Eagles did not let them establish a run yesterday. They filled gaps, right? They controlled the line of scrimmage. They were terrific yesterday. It was a great game plan by Vic Fangio. He completely schemed that win. You saw the young Georgia kids play well. Nolan Smith even got any action. I mean, all except Huff. By the way, Jalen Hurts had more tackles than Bryce Huff yesterday. So we'll leave that aside. And here's the beauty of it. Fangio didn't play him. Fangio said, nah, man, I'm only going to play my guys that I know can contribute. And they look good. Their defense played really well yesterday and won them the football game. Now, while we're giving out the good and going over the good, Barkley's sensational, right? Like, when you have an elite running back, he's so good. You see it right there. 17 carries, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. He broke open the game or got the Eagles' first touchdown on that big run. And it was amazing, the speed in which he ran the ball. Like, he just outran his secondary. He's just an amazing player, right? They finally get Goedert into the equation like we had asked. And everybody was saying, well, is Dallas Goedert, is he any good? Is he any good? Well, yeah, if you actually go to him on offense, he'll produce for you. So it took Devonta Smith getting crunched out of the game for them to actually go, oh, maybe we should use Goedert. No, admittedly, they made him a priority from the start. But we had been asking for that earlier on. So that was good. The backup offensive linemen, terrific, right? Tyler Steen, Fred Johnson, they were terrific. You have really good, great. That right side is great on the Eagles, right? And you lose both of them. You lose Becton, you lose Lane, and we know that when you lose Lane Johnson, they don't win, right? Now, we've seen it before. We've seen that a couple times. And Steen and Fred Johnson came in, anchored the right side, played terrific. And so there was a ton of good yesterday that allowed it. Now, the overarching theme clearly is about Sirianni decision-making, right? And your football team, the identity of your football team after 3 games is staring at you in neon. It's a blinking neon sign. Play traditional football. Jimmy Johnson, the great coach, said it at halftime of the game yesterday. Play the game the way it's supposed to be played. If you do that, you can win in this conference. You can be a playoff team, win a division. You can do that if you play the way the game's supposed to be played. 3 absurdly ridiculous decisions by Nick Sirianni. 3 of them. And they should have cost you the game. If not for the terrific play, again, by Barkley and the defense and the right side of that line. I mean, first of all, before halftime, see, it was just stupid. It was stupid. You got 1 play left. So you're going for it on 4th down for 1 shot at the end zone from the 15-yard line. What sense does that make? It's a 3-0 game. It's staring at you. Points are at a premium. You need points. And he doesn't take the field goal. Absolutely ridiculous. First drive of the second half. Again, it's a 3-0 game. And you don't take the field goal. You go for it on 4th and 3. It's a 51-yarder, right? And Hurts gets sacked. God, I can't believe how many times he fails to do the obvious. This isn't some rocket science, I got to go deep into analytics and all this nonsense. It's ridiculous. Kick the freaking field goal. And then, for some stupid reason, he decides, let me try a 60-yard field goal. All right, I'm up 7-6. He decides to try to kick the field goal, knowing that if you miss, you're going to give the Saints a short field. Why on God's green earth would you try that? Your defense is playing really well. You punt, and you play field position. How hard is it? Jimmy Johnson's saying it. I brought it up last week incessantly. All right? You got to play football. The game wasn't invented 5 years ago. Madden's not the answer. Especially, you see the sea change in the NFL. Points are down dramatically. That means situational football. That means taking points when it makes sense, punting when it makes sense, running the football, all that stuff. And your team itself, your team is begging. You don't have the explosive team that you think you do. Not without A.J. Brown in that lineup. Certainly not when Devonta Smith leaves. You have an incredible game-changing running back to lean on. Just lean on your running game and play defense and punt and play field position and kick field goals. You can win. That's where the game's headed. I always feel like sometimes that they're like 5 minutes behind the trend. And the trend is going back to more traditional football, to play the game, like Jimmy Johnson said, the right way. Well, let me introduce my boys. Good morning, fellas. John Zapata, JP.
Buenos dias.
Violations, Greg Caputo, VG. Listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
That was
despite Nick.
Yes.
Oh God.
That was a very good win.
Yeah.
All right. In the grand scheme of things, right? Like, it wasn't pretty. I get it, but you went in there against a hot team
In the dome.
all right, on the road, always a tough place to play.
Mm-hmm.
And that defense played fantastic. They shut down Kamara. They shut him down.
Did.
I mean, Fangio came back with a great game plan.
Showed up.
The 5-man front, 50, right? Playing a 5-2. It worked.
Yes.
It worked. They filled their gaps. Their linebackers are terrific. Zach Bond has been incredible. What do you have? 13 tackles yesterday?
He is
13.
crazy.
He had 13 tackles.
like Schroeder
Jacoby had 8 tackles. GJ going home played big, had 8 tackles.
He had a chip on his shoulder all game.
Yeah. Like that, filling gaps, playing defense, sound defense. That's football.
Dude.
So your defense played that way. Barkley, your running back, played that way. You got to play football, boys.
They overcame turnovers, terrible penalties, bad special teams play. The defense is all about Nick. I mean, I don't understand why the Saints would just let them set up in that 5. We talked about that 5 or 6 front, but got to take advantage of their stupidity.
And by the way, I mean, let's face it, no Taysom Hill.
Yeah. that's
Really,
big.
hurt their big package, right? Like you see, they like to be in 12 personnel, right? 2 tight ends, and that was a big deal for them. And I just thought Fangio coached a hell of a game.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right? I thought defensively they looked terrific. And again, Barkley's great. Goedert gets in. We were screaming about Goedert. He gets into the game.
But to me, it starts with the defense, because think about it. Leading up to this game, nobody had confidence in that defense, especially what the Saints were doing in the first 2 weeks. They showed up big. The Georgia boys were so big. The fact that you got that contribution from Jordan and from Jalen Carter as well. And you mentioned it. That 5 men and the 5 defensive linemen, that was the big factor there. This win really starts off with that defense. And offensively, listen, you keep talking about it. You see all throughout the NFL, everybody's going to like that West Coast offense, going more with using fullbacks and 12 personnel. The Eagles need to embrace that physical style of offense. I think especially now with you losing these weapons.
Well, yeah, now you're like forced to, right?
Yeah.
Like they were forced to use Goedert. But it's even coaching the game that way, right? Like coaching the game where if you have some ridiculous offense where they can't stop you, right? And it's 2022 and they're not ready for that the RPOs and RPRs that offense gave you because they had defenses on their heels the whole time. It allowed Jalen to go down the field, right, with big throwing windows and guys that were open. Well, you don't have that. So if you don't have that, you have to coach differently.
Yeah.
Your decision-making has to be different. You have to go back and you have to look at it from a more traditional, less aggressive, less foolish way of attack.
It's like first series, the first handoff to Barkley's a read option. Why can't they just give him the ball?
Well, and again, that's thank you. Because
what are we doing?
Jalen, he didn't read it right. He read it wrong, didn't give him the ball. But you should have taken that decision out of him.
Yes.
You don't need to run read option. All right? You've got an elite running back. You don't have DeAndre Swift back there. You have an elite running back that is a weapon. Use the weapon.
Yeah, and he doesn't have his full acceleration hitting the line. He's a wrecking ball. Just let Barkley run downhill.
Exactly.
And then
what did I say last week? They need to become a downhill run team.
Yeah.
How many times did I say it last week? You need to punt.
Hey, it works.
Right.
What do you know? But it's ridiculous. It's so frustrating that it takes a slew of injuries for them to be forced to play what everyone has been clamoring for, Goedert, and run the ball. And that is what's frustrating. This is a great win. There's still, for me, a cloud. And I'm looking at chat. I'm hearing radio. I'm irritated that this Sirianni thing is still hanging around. He should not be here.
I agree.
And if you remove him from this equation, this is a fantastic win.
Yeah.
But then his cloud is like, you're like, what the hell, man? They're poorly coached. These penalties every week. Devonta doesn't know how to line up on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
We got 12 men in a huddle.
Yeah,
like, come on.
that was hard. 12 men in a huddle. We already, now they cleaned up the legal man downfield, but these are all things that have bit them.
Yeah, they just don't look coached well at all.
They don't, and the decisions. Like I go back to the decisions, they're infuriating.
Yeah,
they're like, what are you trying to do? It's almost like he's completely inside his own head, and because everything he rolls, like he comes up craps, like he just can't do anything right.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to coach hero ball. We talk about Jalen playing hero ball. It's like Sirianni's trying to coach hero ball, and like. He doesn't have a feel for the game. It feels like.
No.
Like, what are you doing? Especially like.
Well, right before halftime was a joke. I mean, think about you have to assess the situation before halftime, and you go, all right. Well, I mean, even if I make it, even if I convert the fourth down there, what do I got? One play.
Yeah.
One play to go for 7. and I don't. It's not like I have AJ Brown. I have this explosive. It's not like Jalen right now is throwing a ball on a dime, right?
Yeah.
Just kick the field goal. It's 3-0. Tie the game. It's demoralizing for the Saints because Saints go, oh my God. I mean, are you kidding me?
Tie game going to half.
Right?
Yeah, we've had 2 turnovers and we're tied. Like JP's on to some of this hero ball. Nick, it reminds me of Skeeves. Skeeves always has to chirp in. Nick can't just sit back and let the game go. He can't let the game go. He's always got to get involved in some way, shape, or form. And this is his way of doing it, and he's a dope. I'm sorry. His football, he may be a smart guy outside the world. His football IQ is minimal.
It's just so stupid, man.
But he's always got to insert himself into the game and the conversation some way.
It's absurd now. And you're right. He shouldn't be here. The fact is that when you hang him out to dry like that, and then you bring in both coordinators, an offensive coordinator, and he's supposed to not be in those meetings with Jalen or whatever's going on offensively, you just strip him of all his power.
Yeah.
Like you strip him, and now you got a guy right now who just wants to be involved.
Right.
Right? Like that's what it feels like.
If you're going to accept the neutering, accept it.
Right? Like
don't force yourself into it.
Like it feels like he's struggling to just with the new role. I just don't understand the decisions. They're not thought out.
No.
They're not smart. Like trying a 60-yard field goal when you're up 7-6.
And he's cold. Jake Elliott's cold at that point.
51-yarder. Like, you know what I mean? Earlier in the game.
I just don't understand that line of thinking. Like, okay, if you make it, it's 10-6. Okay, so they need a touchdown. All right. But the risk reward is not worth it because what happens, you give the Saints a short field.
Yes.
It's absurd.
Just spin them deep. It's simple as that. But real quick, even looking back at that last play before halftime, he calls the fake tush push. He does the sweep with Saquon.
Yeah, why are you fake?
Why are you trying to be pretty in that situation? I get it. The right call was to go for the field goal, but why are you trying to be pretty there? Just go with the conventional tush push.
I couldn't even get to the argue of the play call because I just thought the decision to forego the field goal was just stupid. It was just ridiculously dumb. And you got to go back to my frustration, which is the decisions are like you're playing Madden. And it's like, dude, this isn't a video game. This is football. And the game has been around a long time. And there's basic tenets of the game that you need to follow. You just need to follow. I don't care what your analytics, the analyst guy in your headset, what he's saying. I don't care. If you're going to go down and if you're going to blame, the analytics, listen, I know the analytics, the people are heavy-handed in this organization. And they were heavy-handed with Doug, right? Mm-hmm. And listen, if you're the head coach, you got to say no.
Right.
You got to say no.
You're the one taking the bullets.
I don't even want to hear, the analytics say go, whatever. I don't care about it. You read the game. You got to be able to read the game. It's too important. You have to read what's happening, where you're at, who the opponent is, what's the momentum, who's hurt. All these factors that analytics have nothing to do with. You got to read it, man.
Before I forget, too, can we give a shout out to Brandon Graham? Man, what a beast yesterday.
He was amazing.
There's that fourth. Zach Bond makes that tackle on that fourth down, but Brandon Graham blew up the line and pushed the blocker right into Kamara at that point.
BG's awesome.
He was all over the place yesterday.
He's incredible.
Just like Bryce Huff's contribution, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it says everything, doesn't it? Jalen's got more tackles than Bryce Huff.
Oh, God.
I like Fangio just not playing them.
Yeah.
That can't sit well with the front office, but.
Well, listen, what's the front office going to say? Yeah, no, he needs to play?
Yeah.
To do nothing? No. I mean, bottom line is, listen, Fangio makes you feel great about them, right? Because he was not good in week 2, right? Like, his plan was horrible. So what do we say all week? Like, Fangio is going to have to scheme it, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to have to be able – he's been in the league forever. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to pull from his experience and scheme wins. Yesterday, he did that.
He schooled young Clit with the K.
He did.
Schooled him. Was great.
He did. He coached the hell of it. His plan worked. Mm-hmm. It was great.
And he had, they were prepared. They had a little chippiness to them and stuff, you know?
And Jalen Carter. Dude, when he wants to play.
Why would you let him go one-on-one against anybody?
Yeah, I don't know. When he wants to play, my God, he's outrageous.
He's swatting balls, swatting
he's
people.
Ridiculous.
It's like 5 deflections by the Eagles defensive line yesterday.
Jordan Davis, man, played a lot of snaps.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, he was in the game. God bless, man. That was he needed that. We needed that.
Yeah, he played really well.
Because that was a big deal.
Do you think, I was a little bothered. There didn't seem to be a lack of anger when Devonta gets hammered and Slay gets pushed out of bounds. And the team didn't rally around and get chippy or anything. I was a little disappointed in that.
Yeah.
I thought they start shoving and pushing or yelling, but they just stood around.
Let it happen? Come on.
I don't like it.
I feel you. All right. We got Bo Wulf coming up from our All PHLY Eagles show. Bo will be talking about it with Chris the Brain. And Baldy was at the game. He did the game for national radio. So we'll talk to Baldy coming up at 10:30. Lots to unpack from this one. And, of course, always NFL Sunday, it's the most unpredictable game ever, right? And it's only even more unpredictable judging by what happened yesterday on the field. So we'll talk all about it. But first, tell us a little bit about Rite Aid, my man.
Oh, allergy time. Rite Aid to the rescue. Fall allergies are here. And they say they go into November, but I'm thinking we'll be here till January at least. Main culprits, ragweed, mold, sagebrush, tumbleweed, pigweed, dust mites. You know the deal. These things that get into your nose and suddenly your eyes are itchy, watery, your nose is running, you're sneezing, you're wheezing, you're coughing, your head's foggy. So what do you do to get relief during this allergy season? First of all, sign up for Rite Aid Reward emails at riteaid.com/rewards to receive email alerts in your area when it's allergy season and allergens are through the roof. Shower frequently. I showered 3 times yesterday trying to get those allergens off me. Check your pollen accounts. And Rite Aid's got a bunch of over-the-counter options available at your local Rite Aid. Try a nasal rinse to flush out your nasal passages. When symptoms are flaring up, try those antihistamines such as Claritin, Zyrtec, Allegra. And you can also do those nasal cortico sprays if you like the nasal sprays. They got Flonase, Nasacort, and they got all this stuff in their own Rite Aid brand, which saves you a little bit of cash and is just as effective. Still not enough relief? Ask a Rite Aid pharmacist if a different type of allergy medication like a decongestant might be necessary. You can always ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for recommendations on ways to get relief during this allergy season.
All right, buddy. RiteAid.com. Rite Aid. All right, let me tell you about Primos because, look, over the weekend, it's football weekend, football food, gatherings, everything turns up Primo Hoagies. So, using only the finest Thuman meats and cheeses piled high on that bread that is baked in store every couple hours, the seeded roll. And nothing goes better with that seeded roll. It's fresh, crunchy. Oh, man, it's the greatest. Goes so well with everything. And then whatever you want. So the Primo Party Tray captures everyone, right? Whatever they're into. You can get the Italian, the ham, turkey, right? The veggie, you got meatball, the chicken cutlets. They're all there. They're the greatest. The same taste from the original in 1992 that opened in South Philly. Download the new Primo Hoagies app. Enter for your chance to win a year of free hoagies from now through November 15th. When you download or update your Primo Hoagies app, you can enter their new sweepstakes. One grand prize winner will win free hoagies for a year. That's right. You can only enter through the app, so make sure you download it. PrimoHoagies.com has all the details and all the locations. And you'll say what I always say, it's not just a hoagie, it's a Primo. All right, now joining us to unwrap yesterday's game, the much-needed win, is our man from the PHLY Eagles show, Bo Wulf. Good morning, Bo.
Good morning, guys. Happy Monday.
Hey, Bo.
Happy Monday. It is a happy Monday because they win. They win because their defense was sensational, because Vic Fangio drew upon his vast experience, used that 50 front, the 5-man front. But Zach Ball was terrific, the whole thing, despite the head coach's decision.
Yeah, the defensive line in particular was awesome in this game. I think it was probably, in terms of like first snap to last snap, Jalen Carter's best game as an Eagle. He was awesome. This is exactly what you were hoping to see when we saw the flashes in the summer. He was fantastic. I think that Clint Kubiak did a bad job in this game because he let the Eagles live in base. You know, they first 2 weeks of the season, they played less 11 personnel than anybody. So you come into this game where you know, this is our identity, this is who we are. But he was slow to react to the fact that the Eagles were dominating up front when they were in base and the Saints were in 12 and 21 personnel. You look at the splits in this game, like especially in early downs, when the Saints were in 11, they were still able to run the ball a little bit on the Eagles. And so as encouraging as this specific defensive performance was, we still have to see them prove it when they're going to have to be a nickel against other teams in the league, right? But for this game in particular, I mean, just the guys on the defensive line manning up in a game in which they know that they've been crushed for the first 2 weeks because they had been so bad. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Brandon Graham, who has been awesome through the first 3 games. And then, as you said, the linebackers, it's nice they have this balance where Nakobe Dean has been very steady and is holding the fort in terms of like being where he needs to be. It's been very impressive. And then Bond is like your upside guy, right? Like he misses some plays, but he also brings real thump and heft. And that stop on 4th and 1 that he made was fantastic.
No, without a doubt. And I agree with you. I thought Kubiak dropped completely. His game plan was awful going in.
You got to adjust early, man.
You have no Taysom Hill, right? Without Taysom Hill,
exactly,
who in their big package plays such a huge role. Like I'll be honest with you, and I know they went to Shaheed a couple times, but I would have devised a completely different game plan, and I would have attacked on early downs.
At least at halftime. I mean, like the splits, if you just look at them, like it's like 2.7 yards per carry against base and almost 4 in nickel, which is not a huge disparity, but they were moving the ball. And you saw on that opening drive, for instance, that the Saints had, Eagles were dominating on 1st and 2nd down, but when the Saints dropped back to pass, like Carr was throwing dimes and they were able to move the ball. And so I think they probably should have flipped that switch a little bit earlier, but all credit to Vic Fangio for turning this thing around.
Yeah, and look, and when let's talk about the good, all right, because there was a lot of good, and the right side of that Eagles offensive line goes down. That's a huge deal. Lane, fantastic. Becton, and when Lane goes down, they don't win. And Fred Johnson and Tyler Steen come in, and I thought they played fantastic. You got Barkley, who's just a beast. That piece of it was really good.
Absolutely fantastic, those 2 guys. Now, just like the defensive line, those guys had been, hearing how bad they had been playing through the first 2 weeks and were able to bounce back. You got to feel good for Tyler Steen, a guy who has, dealt with, sort of been passed over and overlooked at every point of his young NFL career so far. Obviously loses the job to Mekhi Becton in the summer. But we've talked about this. Like, I think that Tyler Steen, when he's been playing, has been pretty good and was pretty good this summer. And so I was impressed with what he did in this game. And Fred Johnson, obviously, huge shoes to fill with Lane Johnson going down. And for it not just to be one of them, but both of them having to go in there and work together in concert was all the more impressive. And obviously, you give a lot of credit to Jeff Stoutland for getting those guys ready. And then you talk about Saquon. And to me, that this was such a good example of the Eagles' emphasis on star power, right? Like, it's the first play after Devonta goes down. So on offense, they're down A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Lane Johnson. Oh my God, like all of our stars are gone. And it's one play later, you give the ball to Saquon Barkley, and this is like exactly what Howie Roseman would have envisioned when he gave him this money, right? He takes it, and it's a beautifully blocked up play by the left side of the defense of the offensive line. But every other running back the Eagles have had, at least since LaShawn McCoy, it's like an 8-yard gain, right? And Saquon runs away, and it changes the game. It's their first points of the game, despite the fact that they dominated, total yardage and everything through the first 3 quarters. And so that was it. And I know that like the Goedert play is the play that delivers the win. But for me, the Saquon play was like the release of pressure. Like, okay,
Yes.
we can actually go win this game now.
Completely with you. So let's talk about there's a nagging underlying cloud, and that's Sirianni and the decision makings.
Well, see, I didn't know if you're going to go Sirianni or Jalen's turnovers. You could go either way.
Well, yeah, listen, Jalen's turnovers are a problem, and we got to talk about it. But to me, the biggest issue right now is their identity, and their head coach doesn't understand their identity. This team, I told you this last week. We talked about this. They are a downhill running team, right? You need to run the ball. You need to play defense. You need to punt when you need to punt. You need to take the points. You need to take the points. You got to throw it back. Jimmy Johnson said it at halftime. You got to play the game the way it's supposed to be played. You don't have a dynamic offense to go throw dice. And right now, the head coach is lost. He doesn't understand his own identity.
Well, I think there are a few things here. And one of them is just like beyond the 4th down decisions, the identity that you're talking about. Like, we heard that his message to the team on Saturday night was like a Conor McGregor video and attack. Like, let's go punch him in the mouth. And then the first 2 plays of the game on offense are a read option and a tight end screen. Like, that's not exactly attack. They don't give the ball to Saquon Barkley until the 3rd offensive possession. Like, okay, let's attack that way. But in terms of the 4th down decision making, I think that Nick is just sort of flailing. I don't think he has an identity, and it's the comparison has been made to like a guy who plays blackjack and doesn't do the same thing every time. It's just based on feel. Even the decision at the end of the first half to go for that 4th and 1, that is not an analytically supported decision. The analytics staff would have told him to kick that field goal. Okay. That is, there are like 16 seconds left. You have 1 timeout. The upside of getting it there is that you get one shot at the end zone.
Shot at the end zone.
Right. And so if it's the middle of the game and you still have possession after that, then yes, you should go for that 4th and 1 because you've got the tush push and all these things. And for him to come clean after the game in the post-game press conference and say that was his call, his specific play call, not just to go for it. I mean, I believe that because it was so asinine. And the only reason that you would go for it there is to try to score. And so that's why they called that play. You got to take, I do think that was the wrong decision. The 4th and 3 that they don't get, I actually think that one was fine too. And then the 60-yard field goal, you
wait, you think that was a good decision?
I thought it was okay to go for that 4th and 3.
I didn't because I thought it was I thought that was stupid as well. You see points. You got to get taste points. You got nothing. You got blanked in the first half. You have the 51-yard field goal. All right, easily. It's butter, right? It's butter for you. Your offense right now is struggling. You got to be able to get points.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that 3 points is going to win you the game. So
again, but
like I think the upside of it, it's like we talked about last week. They have the 2 4th downs. They don't get one of them, but they get the other one and they get a touchdown. And 7 is more than 6 if you take 2 field goals, right? So
I disagree. There's a feel of how you're supposed to coach that game. There's a feel about how you're supposed to coach your team. And there's a reason why freaking Jim Harbaugh wins wherever he goes. And Jim Harbaugh plays the game, understands his own team, who they are. Listen, if you're 2022 and you got a team that's moving the ball, hey, I get it. All right? You want to throw dice? Go ahead, Bo, throw dice. You don't have that team, my man. You don't have anything close to that team.
Well, especially with no AJ Brown. Obviously, they're less explosive.
Yeah,
but that also means that points are at a higher premium, and so 7 matters even more than 3 in this situation.
It's more difficult for you to convert the 4th and 3.
Well, yeah, if they don't have a good play call, then that's a crappy play call. Then yeah,
dynamic. You don't have a dynamic offense.
I mean, 4th and 3, you should still be able to pick up even with a mediocre offense.
Okay, we'll disagree. Well, completely disagree.
Listen, I am not
like
defending Nick Sirianni's decision.
Let me ask you this: you like the third one?
I think he's done a terrible job of in-game decision making through first 3 games.
All right, what about going for the field goal? And you're up 7-6, all right? And you're going to eschew field position by trying a 60-yard field goal. You like that?
I did not like that. But, I mean, I guess we got to say that it ended up working out because it kept the game in the right flow for them. But, yeah, I mean, if you're going to do that.
They got lucky. Didn't work out.
Well, of course.
They wouldn't get a score.
Of course. But then they got the ball back with enough time. I mean, it's a little bit silly. But yeah, 60 yards. I mean, you don't have, this is not Brandon Aubrey, right? That is a stretch for Jake Elliott. So yeah, I thought that was a little bit too risky.
Oh, you're up 7-6. I mean, just punt the freaking ball. Your defense is playing well. You played a field position. The game wasn't invented. It's like, this drives me insane because all those basic tenets of the freaking sport get thrown out the window.
Because this is the thing. It's not even
5 minutes ago went, oh, I know, it worked in Madden.
But no, this is the thing. It's not just the decisions. It's that none of the decisions are connected, right? And so if you're going to be willing to kick the field goal from the 60-yard line, then you better run the ball on 3rd and 15 or whatever and get a little bit more yardage, right? Like you're not going to right? Like it's all unconnected. Nothing is speaking to each other. There's no consistency in the decision making, right? Yeah. It's not just he's not aggressive enough or he's not taking the points. It's that there is no cohesive thought process where one decision makes sense with the other. That's the problem.
That I agree with. I don't think he understands his own team. I don't think he understands. I think in his mind, he still thinks he's got 2022. Like he doesn't understand what he's got and the strengths and weaknesses of who's on the field. And God forbid, especially as you're going in, you lost your right side of your line. You got, Devonta then gets hurt. There's no AJ. Covey's out. I mean, all you got is Barkley and Goedert. And it took him till this week to actually put Goedert in the offense when we were screaming about it last week.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's insane. I can't believe he wasn't a bigger part of the offense. It's nice to know that he's not just washed, that it was just bad coaching last week.
All right. Hurts.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we can pick apart each interception and turnover and say, you know what, Devonta didn't run a great route there. That's just a great play by Tyrann Mathieu. The offense, it's the same route they called last week. That's probably lazy play calling. Maybe that one's not entirely on Jalen. But over the course of the last season plus, since the beginning of last season, he has more turnovers than any player in the NFL. It's got to stop.
Yeah.
And the fumble, he's not paying attention. Like, you cannot keep saying, well, we just got to clean this stuff up. Eventually it'll go away. It's getting too long of an arc here where that's just not happening. I mean, they are 2-1 despite losing the turnover battle in each of the first 3 games this season. That is not sustainable. You know the last time they did that, cuz? 2012, the Dream Team year. So let's hope it doesn't go that way.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know what's going on in Jalen's head there, and his feel is a little off. Like that read option that you talked about to start the game, just give it to Barkley. Like he read it wrong. He didn't have the right read on that play.
Yeah, they got to stop calling those read options. It is not working. They have to just stop it.
100%.
Give the guy the ball. I totally agree.
Take that decision off his plate and give the running back, who is an all-world running back, the football and let him run downhill because that's what he's great at. He's great at running downhill.
I totally agree. Yeah, stop getting Jalen moving horizontally. It's not working. Just stop it. Throw that whole section out of the playbook. I totally agree. Now, to be fair, other than the interceptions, and of course it's other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? But other than the interceptions, Jalen played very well. 29 of 38 for 311. A lot. There's Yak that's doing a lot of carrying on that yardage, but and apparently he's the one who called the audible on the Dallas Goedert play. The motion tells them it's man, and so he changes the play. That's awesome. That's great stuff, and I think he's done a very good job with the pre-snap decision making for the most part. For a guy who hadn't done it before.
And to your point, you got again, we talked. There's no Lane and no Becton, right? You lose Devonta, you lose Covey, right? You're already down AJ. Like, I mean, he's bare bones.
And you know what? That throw he made to Johnny Wilson on the play before the Dallas Goedert, what beautiful throw! Hit him right in the hands.
I agree. Listen. I mean, you look at the quarterback, and he's got a lot of adversity in front of him. So I listen. The fact they won that game, it's definitely, he gives you more good. He just got to button up decision makings, man. I mean, that's just the only, that to me is the only blemish with him, is he has to really just button that stuff up.
Yeah, I mean, if we could just cut it in half, then they'd be fantastic on offense, even without getting those guys back. So yes, I mean, it's just we got to see him do it, because it's been so long now where he's been careless with the ball.
Yeah. So what's the updates? What are you hearing? Devonta, man, that was scary, that hit.
Yeah, that was ugly, and I mean, it's brutal that they didn't throw a flag there. Like, that was a really nasty play. Like, what are we doing? What is the point of the league if that doesn't draw a flag? It's scary. Zach said it was scary being there in the stands, and the players were, all silent on the field. But it sounds like he was cleared to fly home with the team, so that's good. And then Lane is vomiting on the sideline with concussions. He's had several concussions before, so this is the dirty part of the sport, right? That is not a lot of fun. The Eagles will have a tough road ahead if they're going to be without those guys this week, which, I mean, I think you would probably lean towards that being the case. Bye probably comes at a good time, right?
Big time.
And then I think Merrill Reese reported that, like, Britton Covey has a broken bone in his shoulder and will be out some time, but not season ending supposedly. So,
yeah, man, AJ,
maybe get AJ back.
Could they have him back, or do you think it's after the bye?
I think it's possible they have him back. I think the good thing about this win is that it gives them a little bit of breathing room, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to give AJ an extra week, then you get the bye. Like, you don't want to be 2-2, but 2-2 is a lot better than 1-3, and so maybe you don't have to push it necessarily.
You guys were great. I don't have anything. You guys covered. I did, but then he hit Britton Covey. I was like, but yeah, you guys covered everything, man.
Yeah. Well,
solid.
You'll cover much more today. 2:00.
2:00. Hopefully Zach is back, but he's having some flight issues, so we might rearrange the lineup a little bit, but that's okay.
All right.
Well, I say they're calling Bo Debbie Downer in the chat today. I didn't like his energy today.
What? No, that's Bo always has that cool demeanor. He'll give you that.
I thought he was
say it to my face. That's what I say to the commenters.
They didn't expect him to be such a Sirianni fan today. I'll tell you that.
I'm not I mean, it's crazy to me that I have to be the guy. I'm not defending Sirianni. I think he has mostly done a terrible job of in-game management. I just think there are some things that he's accidentally gotten not wrong.
Yeah, but you also are more a believer in analytics than I am. I'm not. I believe that they're a tool, but I don't go by religion. And I think you need to read every game differently. Knowing the analytics, sometimes, again, if it's 2 years ago and I have an offense that I know 4th and 3 is nothing for me, right? Like I have a higher probability to convert it, I'm all for going for it. But I don't have that. But
here's the thing that's interesting to me, because is the only time that this franchise has ever won a Super Bowl in its history is because they were doing those things. They were following the analytics.
I mean, there's such a thing called blue snow. That things happened and it just all came together. I mean, come on, they were charged.
But you would have thought that would have converted more people. That's what delivered it.
Like, first of all, if you're going to give me that the reason why they won the Super Bowl is because of analytics, I'll give you 50 things that tell you that it was some sort of divine intervention that allowed them to win the game. Like, I know the analytics really showed you that Nick Foles was going to come off the scrap heap and play the 2 greatest games of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, stay. You know what you can do with your numbers, all right?
All right, thanks, guys.
Trends. Oh, God, I hate them. I hate the religious part of it, the zealotry that goes with it. I just hate it. I hate it. Because the game, Jimmy Johnson, you're going to go, wow, he's old. Jimmy Johnson knows more about football than anybody in that NovaCare facility. Anybody.
I mean, tell that to Dom.
Except Dom.
My big takeaway is I'm surprised Anthony watches these halftime games, these halftime shows. You don't flip the red zone or the other game?
I filled up red zone.
I mean, that's your time to go to the bathroom.
I knew they would talk about that decision, which was driving me insane.
Yeah, but
Right?
I want to make it clear that decision was against the analytics. That was not.
Well, I
supported
agree
by
with the analytics there.
A convert. We got a convert. Welcome to the church.
Yeah. Block and tackling, baby. There's a reason why the sport has existed before we were all born. As much as that it goes crazy before it all happened. Before Nick Sirianni. By the way, the Ted Lasso, Jalen Hurts is a freaking winner. Just tone it down, dude. Like there's certain times when I can take it, but not yesterday. Like you almost lost the game, and then you're giving me Ted Lasso.
Well, I also the thing from that press conference when he's talking about, oh yeah, like we heard it. I hear everything. We hear everything, and like I know that everybody was against the Georgia guys. Like why are we taking these guys and all that stuff? I mean, to me, I know that is the case, but it is not healthy. Like I mean. For them, we have talked about this for a very long time, how rabbit-eared the Eagles organization is and how they will often do things that are directly a reaction to like whatever the popular talking point is that week. Like, I mean, grow up, guys. Like, go do your job.
No, dude, I agree with you. All kidding aside, listen, first of all, people aren't against the Georgia kids. They were not against them. They just wanted them to play better. They saw the talent in Jalen Carter. Everybody could see that. And Jordan Davis, they just wanted more.
Carter himself said he played like trash the first 2 weeks.
Right,
so
like,
nobody's
I don't understand why
like,
you're blaming the fans for having an opinion on the game of which you were bad at. I mean,
yeah, and this the bravado of like, oh, nobody said we could win this game. Like we're, everybody.
Right, exactly.
You guys, it's self-created stuff. Like
it
you were
is.
playing
It's
badly.
nonsense.
It's not like, yeah.
They're not going to ride with you when they're down. Like, what do you expect? All right, like seriously, dude, you lost. It was a bad loss. People were upset. Like you're right, Bo, 100%. You got to grow up. I'm with you.
And like all of the adversity is not like like the team got in an accident or something. It's like they're turning the ball over too much and it's their own fault. Like,
I know.
Calm down.
People love this team. Let me stop with the they're against you even if they win. No, they're just against stupid football. Come on, seriously.
But are we okay if that's the narrative they need to create so that they come out and play with
it's so tired. I think it's weak.
Yeah,
you're going to blame the fans.
Yeah, I agree.
just think that's the height of being weak. Andy Reid never did that. Never did that.
You want tough critics, right? Hold yourself to a high standard.
Yes.
Just
go.
P.
You know what? You're right. Listen, you guys were right last week. That's what you got to say. I don't get his whole attitude. I just see a guy right now that is completely swimming. You said it. Swimming, I think you said it exactly. And that's what he is. He's swimming right now.
And to be fair, I mean, this is the position they put him in. This was their choice to bring him back and put him in this position where he is very much in focus and like feels like he's probably coaching for his job every week. That's the situation that Jeffrey Lurie outlined, but they did it because they think they have a Super Bowl caliber roster. And by bringing in competency on both coordinator spots, they can push it forward that way. And so we will see how it goes.
He accepted that though. It's not like they did it to him. He accepted that role. Doug wouldn't take that
role. What's he going to do? Quit?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of that second time around, Doug was like, you know what? I'm good.
Like, but Doug had his Super Bowl. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. True. Good point.
Well, that's the thing is I think, if you want to talk about it big picture, like how these arcs go with the Eagles, there is this thing where part of the difficulty for them hiring a head coach or part of what they want is that it's important for Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman to have a big say in how the organization is run. And so sometimes that means that your pool of coaches is a little bit different because somebody who's coming in who has like the agency to be a power broker is not going to come here necessarily. And so it starts well. This person is accepting the influence, but then once the team gets good enough, that coach wants to be able to exert their own influence because they feel like they've earned that. If you're Doug Peterson, you've won the Super Bowl. If you're Nick Sirianni, you took the team to the Super Bowl. And then there comes this clash of, well, sorry, we were doing things our way. We're going to keep doing things our way. You are not in charge here. And that's when things bubble to the surface.
Yeah, it's a great point. Great point. My brother, always fun, always a spirited conversation. We love you, buddy. See you too.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Let's go numbers.
All PHLY Eagles.
Bo Sirianni, they're calling him in the chat.
All right, time now. Thanks to our friends at the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. The Brain.
Red, the brain finder.
Brain!
I got to tell you, Anthony, I feel like I when you see when one of your friends needs help and there's an intervention, watching that game yesterday, I don't think I've ever felt worse after a win. I feel like the Eagles, I know, me and you've texted off air that they're an analytical organization. By the way, that's not a bad thing, but when done recklessly, it's like if you're trying to lose weight and you don't eat food and you go on a hunger strike, I wouldn't call that healthy, even though you're losing weight. What I'm witnessing is legitimately, it's so bad. It's so awful. I mean, I don't understand who's feeding them these analytics when there's 14 seconds left in the half and it's a 4th and 1 at the 15-yard line. Let's say you get the first down. I'm going to give it to you. You get it. You have one play from the 15-yard line.
So apparently that was Sirianni going rogue. I mean, this is the most ridiculous decision. Like all three of them. All three of them were stupid. The 4th and 3, right? You got a 51-yard field goal. It's 3-0. Take the freaking points, man. Feel good about yourself off a drive.
Anthony, I'm begging you as my friend. I'm begging you. This actually means a lot to me. I don't think I've ever asked you for a favor. You see me doing it. You know a lot of people in that organization. Ask them, why do field goals have to be cancer? Why do field goals have to be cancer? Why is scoring 3 points in a close game, in a game where you know the other team is not going to score 50 points?
That's the religion.
Why is 3 points cancer?
And in that religion, during Lent, Catholics don't eat meat on Fridays. Well, they don't kick field goals on Sundays.
But Anthony, it's getting to the point, now, again, and I mean this, I'll be honest. They got away with it. It's funny. It's literally like, every time in life, we've all gotten away with something, in life you shouldn't have done when you were a kid or whatever. You get away with it, your parents don't find out. They got away with one yesterday, but they didn't get away with it against the Falcons. I don't think I've seen, and tell me if you think this is an overstatement. We watch all the games, and I don't think I've seen a coaching staff in any of these 32 teams cripple a team more than the Eagles coaching staff has crippled them in terms of just decision making.
Dude, how about let's go for we're up 7-6. Let's go for a 60-yard field goal. All right?
Anthony, I can't.
And let's give the Saints a sure field. Like, what sense? Like, what happened to field position? I keep going back to the hardballs. But the hardballs coached the game the way the game was supposed to be played. Like, again, I have no problem. I was arguing with Bo. I have no problem. If your offense is really good, it's 2022, and you're going on, spot on, up and down the field. Yeah. But all right, you want to go for it, 4th and 3 early? Okay. But your offense isn't that. It's not that.
Yeah. Anthony, again, I find it absolutely. Listen, it was a very look. The great part about the game was all of us. I was in the front row. I admit it. Can this Eagles defense look decent? Everyone talked badly. Me at the front of the line, talked badly about them. Tremendous performance. They shut down Kamara, your boy Pringle's car. Certainly did nothing. Tremendous performance by the defense. Tremendous. And that's what, to me, I would have loved to have just been focusing on. But the game never would have been that close, in my opinion, if they just these aren't hard. This isn't brain surgery. And They're taking the easiest parts of football and making it he's reckless. I mean, he's absolutely reckless. I wish I could meet the guy for 2 minutes. I would tell him in the most kindest, most gentle way, you can't do this. And to me, it's they got away with it. But man, I don't know. I just, is anyone defending it, Anthony? I just need to know. Is there anyone defending this?
No. I keep talking about what Jimmy Johnson said, but it was like blinking at you in neon. Play the game the right way. You know, in his voice. Play the game the right way. Like, yes,
Yeah, that's the way
yes, coach. You know, that's it. Field position, punt, field goal. Like, those things can help you win. Like, got to win every game. Like, try to win every game as best you can. Not hamper your team.
But one thing I want to just say, Anthony, which I'm really glad about, because I've been someone who, look, the devaluation of the running back in terms of what these owners pay the players, I've thought it's hogwash. I've always said, if you can have a great running back and they're making far less in these other positions, I'm going to zig when everyone else is zagging. To me, like, yeah, Saquon Barkley is arguably the best running back in the league. Why wouldn't they pay him $13 million a year when guys like Gabe Davis are getting $15 million a year at receiver and Daniel Jones is getting $40 million a year at quarterback? Who would you rather have, Gabe Davis, Daniel Jones, or Saquon Barkley? Those guys are making a lot more money than him.
The Giants, who, by the way, I don't know how they won yesterday. I didn't see that game. But the Giants are the dumbest team in football. Like, how in the world could you possibly let it? Like, imagine if they had neighbors who could play and Barkley. It might be a little bit. You know, I don't know how. I agree with that. I don't know how you let him walk. It's a joke. Like, comparatively speaking, like you bring up wide receivers, the cost, like he is such a guy to lean on with your offense. Like, if I'm the Eagles, I just become a downhill running team. I mean, forget the RPOs, just give Barkley the ball.
To me, Anthony, listen, the market's important in terms of what you pay players. I get that. But also you can use it to your advantage. Because if the market's saying Saquon Barkley, if the market's saying Saquon Barkley is worth 1/3 of Daniel Jones, if the market is saying Saquon Barkley is worth significantly less than below average wide receivers like Gabe Davis, I'm going to say, thank you, market. I'm going to take advantage of this. I'll sign him. I'll pay him more than anyone else is willing to pay him because I know for a fact he's better than Gabe Davis and Daniel Jones of the world. If everyone else wants to just say running backs are worth nothing, great. I'll take that treasure while you start whoever running backs you want.
I'm with you. Completely with you. Weird day yesterday around the league. Bizarre.
Man, it was not a good day for me. It was not a good day for me. I was all on the Texans. They absolutely did not get it done.
I don't understand what happened to that team.
Well, look, it's funny.
I know Mixon hurts them, but
I will say this, and again, I'd love you to speak to Coach Farrell. Anthony, you got to text what he's going to say about Sam Darnold because he's playing unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable football. He's playing great. Aaron Jones, Justin. Look, I actually like the Vikings, but I was shocked. Now, again, I guess getting Brian Flores as defensive coordinator was a big deal. He's come in.
Well, they shut down that team. He is. He's a great defensive coach.
The 49ers, he completely shut down a healthy 49ers team.
Yeah.
A healthy 49ers team. You can argue that with the Eagles, if they're healthy, maybe the three best offenses are the 49ers, the Eagles, and the Texans, right? He just absolutely shut down two of them. He obviously shut out the Giants. Who cares? But he still shut them out. I'm saying this guy, he'll get a job, in my opinion, after this, Anthony, Brian Flores for sure. He's coming and taken a bad Vikings defense and has made them elite through 3 games. That was an impressive performance. Listen, Malik Willis, Anthony, I thought the 11th command was Malik Willis stinks playing pro football. He played really well yesterday. They ran the ball effectively. Look, again, they have a good coach. I'll say if these teams have good coaches, Anthony, it's really worth a lot because Malik Willis really didn't do anything for Tennessee.
Dude, you know what's so funny you said that? You know what's funny you said that? Last week, who was I arguing with? Somebody said it was a players' league. Oh, Zach. I'm like, it's not a players' league. It's a coaches' league. Yeah. Good coaches win in this thing. It's a complete coaches' league. It's not a players' league.
And Anthony, here's my best argument. If Shohei Ohtani were to play for the LA Dodgers, the Anaheim Angels, the Colorado Rockies, the Miami Marlins, he's going to hit his 45 home runs. It doesn't make a difference. But you take a guy like Sam Darnold, who struggled his whole career, put him in a better situation. Where you take a guy like Malik Willis, put him with a good coaching staff. Maybe it takes a bad player, makes him average. Situations in play calling in the NFL, coaches in football to me are worth 21st round picks.
Look at Spags last night. All right. So he knows he's got Cousins, right? So what does he do against Cousins? Well, they were twice had a chance to take the lead. He blitzed the bejesus off him. All right.
He's the best.
He blitzed them to death. And what happened? They won the game.
Well, he's arguably the best coordinator. And again, you see, it's amazing. Look, Andy's a great coach, but I give Andy credit. He hands off the reins to a guy he knows is brilliant on that side of the ball, and he gets out of the way. He's he doesn't have an ego. For a guy that could have the biggest ego in sports, he doesn't. He's like, this is your gig. I know you're better at it than me. I don't need to get involved. I know you're going to get the job done. He trusts them, and a team that, look, you're right. If it's coaching, it's funny. I couldn't agree with you more. Coaching is so big in the NFL. And then look, I give them a lot of credit though. Green Bay winning with the backup quarterback when Love is out twice in a row. That's a really big win. I did win. I got home with the Rams. I was fortunate at the end. But those were my three big games, and they went 1 and 2. And I was very disappointed in the Texans. I just did not see that coming.
All right, what do you got tonight, Mr. Ambassador of the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app?
I'll give you a couple props, Anthony. Travis Etienne, I like over 12.5 rush attempts. Tank Bigsby is probably going to play, but he's definitely banged up. Etienne, 19 and 11 in the last couple of years, getting at least 13 rushes a game. I don't think they're going to want to put too much pressure on Trevor Lawrence here. I say they maybe get back a little bit more to the running game. I like over 12.5 rushes. And the other game, Austin Eckler, over 18.5 receiving yards. 39 and 11, his last 15, obviously a different situation here, switching teams. But he's had the last 2 games here, he's had 47 and 52 with a quarterback that just seems to like to dump the ball off and doesn't like to throw deep. I think 18.5 is too short for him. He's been getting half the snap count anyway. In terms of the games themselves, I definitely lean Cincinnati laying 7, Anthony. I think Cincinnati wins this game by margin. I do. I think this is their get-right spot.
This is like similar the Jets game the other night.
I was about to say similar. Difference being, I don't think they're as good as the Jets, and I think the Patriots are worse than Washington probably, but that's okay. But similar kind of situation. And I'm going to lean Jacksonville, Anthony. I know they're 0-2. This is throw the kitchen sink kind of game where they just
this is Dougie's job on the line.
But by the way, guys, I asked all three of you. It's amazing. Did you see the difference? I watched the entire game because I have nothing to do in life. Did you watch Andy Dalton come in? I watched Carolina for 2 games not be able to get a first down with Bryce Young. You put Andy Dalton in there, who's no one would say Andy Dalton's a great quarterback, although yesterday he actually played great. You see the difference? It's amazing. They go from a team that couldn't score a field goal to a team that puts 42 points up. It's just amazing what a competent quarterback can do. And it just makes everything different. And I give them credit organizationally for saying, you know what? Yeah, we drafted this guy number 1. It's 2 games into the season. He can't play. I'm not going to just bang my head and embarrass myself and go 0-17 with a guy that just really can't play high school football right now. So I was impressed with them organizationally for making a gutsy move. And at least they're not going to make the playoffs. But you know what? At least for 1 week, they feel pretty good about themselves.
Yeah. No, dude, you're right on.
Yo, Brad, looking nice and clean today. That blue pops, the hat's nice and bright white. Look a little clean shaven today.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you something, man. And I'm being honest, VJ. Like for me, shaving, I only shave like once a week because I hate I'm lazy. I hate shaving. It's like annoying to me. So yeah, you caught me on my shaving day. But don't worry.
You're looking fresh, man. Everything's popping.
I'm not going to look like this.
Yeah,
you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, it's a great blue.
The beard will be back in full force.
You're not giving us nothing. We got our postseason clincher on the mound today in Philly. You going to give us a play on the
Aaron Nola should win this game. Nola should obviously win this game. I think they're laying about $1.80 or so. I mean, you would like to think that this is a game they're going to take care of. They're now 1 game behind the Dodgers. Phillies do have the tiebreaker in terms of getting the number 1 seed overall in the postseason for getting postseason home field advantage. But yeah, I mean, Nola should win. Look, Phillies are obviously they're going to get the number 1 or 2 seed. And it's just a matter of, hopefully Nola and Wheeler pitch well in the postseason. And the key guy is probably Ranger Suarez, like Anthony used to say. he to me is like their swing player. If he pitches well, this team's really, really good. If not, not so much.
If I don't want to lay all that juice, what do you think about Phillies money line with Aaron Nola over 6.5 strikeouts?
Nola's strikeouts, look, the Cubs are more like a mid-pack team strikeout-wise. I made the number 6.5, VG. That's exactly what I made it. Really don't have an opinion on it. I didn't bet it because that's the number I personally made it. I think I'll probably get 6 or 7. I think it'll be a tight bet. If you can bet over 17.5 outs, I don't know if there's this. I didn't see that posted yet, but if they do post 17.5, I think Aaron Nola will get his 6 innings in today.
Cool.
I learned to not go against the brain, but I mean, I like Nola in a clincher situation.
Yeah, his stats are ridiculous in clincher situations.
Yeah, but the only thing is I agree with Brad. I wouldn't do the strikeout.
Yeah,
because they don't. The Cubs aren't a strikeout team,
right.
So I wouldn't do that. And I'd sooner lay a run. I don't know what the Phillies are minus 1.5.
Yeah, minus a you'll probably make it minus a run, lower it down from $1.80 to like more like $1.20. And again, if you tie, who cares? But it saves you a full unit if you lose the bet. I have no problem doing that because look, when you lose these big favorites, it's painful, right? If you put in a big favorite, you better freaking win because if you lose, you have to wait. If you take the Phillies say minus $1.80 and it loses, you got to win your next 2 games basically to get back to where you were. And I tell you, it's never easy to win 2 in a row. So. It's so. Look, that would be my advice. But Phillies should win today. But again, baseball, you never know. Look at the Orioles. Look at the Orioles and the Royals and the Twins. Great playoff teams potentially. By the way, I'll let you know this note, guys. You know what one of my biggest bets of the year was before the year? I bet the Tigers minus 200 not to make the playoffs. They were 15 games out of the playoffs in August. I would have put up my house, your house, everyone's house to win a penny. That bet cashed. They're now minus 350 to make the playoffs.
Damn.
I'm starting to think the Steelers got Brad's segment in their locker room as bulletin board material.
Hey, all they needed was me to motivate them. But I told you, I was not, VG, I was not stubborn. I bet over 8.5. I did, but they're still probably only going to win 9 games, by the way. Anyway, they're so limited in what they can do. But again, Anthony, to prove your point, great coach, limited offense, great coach. What happens? You still win.
I'm with you, buddy. All right, great stuff, my brother. As always, at bradsbestbets.com. Thanks, my man.
All right, buddy.
All right, Brain, the ambassador of the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. That's right. So we got 2 more games tonight. Doubleheader. I love the doubleheader Monday night.
Yeah. As long as birds aren't involved, I love it.
Yeah, I love the Bengals tonight.
Yeah.
I don't think Washington. I think, again, Jay Daniels struggling. Right, like these rookie quarterbacks are going to struggle. Yeah. All right, you get him. I think it's up to 7.5 on the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. I think they win by double digits. The other game is a fascinating game because Doug has to win. Yeah, like his job is this year's on the line. All right, and the Bills are tough. That's a tough game. That's going to be a tough game. At home.
Yeah,
I know.
Man.
Josh Allen, the way they're running the ball.
Come on, Dougie.
That's a tough one, man. Tough one. You can play it tonight on the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. And don't forget, it's the only online casino sportsbook that we recommend and use. Bet Parks has your seats with a live dealer for all your favorite classic casino games run on your phone. Again, you can play live dealer, blackjack, craps, roulette while you're watching the game. All your favorite sports, right? The Birds, pro football, college football, the game, baseball, like we said, with the Fightins. Download the Bet Parks app right now. Enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. Again, they have the new slot game called Peaky Blinders, based off the TV show. And new users, download the Bet Parks online casino app and sportsbook. You get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. BetParks.com has all the details. Got to be 21 PA, New Jersey, Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You play for fun. You love to win. You bet. Bet Parks.
Love it. Cuz I got to give a quick shout out to Bet Parks. They had me over at the Pennsylvania Derby.
Yeah, coming up. I want you to talk about that.
Sounds good. Yeah, so it was a great time over at the racetrack. My first experience at the racetrack as well, which was freaking awesome. So shouts to Bet Parks. But ironically enough, listen, it was afternoon. It was around 4:35. And the sun was, dwindling down. It wasn't as heavy as maybe in the middle of the day. But it was still weather for having your sunglasses on. And believe it or not, I actually saw some people wearing their Shady Rays. I saw a nice gentleman had an aviator on. I went up to him and was like, yo, Shouts to you for wearing the Shady Rays. And he was raving about it. I love Shady Rays. He has 3 other pairs. And he was talking about all the same things that we talk about all the time here and why he loves Shady Rays. And ladies and gentlemen, listen, just because it's fall doesn't mean that the sun's not going anywhere. It's still here, and you still need to protect your eyeballs. So why not look good while you're doing that? And Shady Rays has thousands of different types of styles for you to rock. My favorite part about it is that we're not breaking our bank for these high quality sunglasses, all right? No more spending $500, $1,000 on sunglasses. You don't have to break the bank to get a nice pair of sunglasses. And if you happen to lose or break them, listen, if you're at the racetrack and you happen to drop them and you step on them, no worries, because Shady Rays will replace that first pair for you. It is awesome. And don't take it from me. Take it from over 300,000 people that have rated Shady Rays 5 stars or more. But as always here, we got you with that promo code, ladies and gentlemen. If you go right now, find your favorite pair, head over to the checkout page, use the promo code PHLY. This will get you 35% off those polarized sunglasses. So head on over today, Shady Rays, use the promo code PHLY, get your 35% off, and shouts to our friends over at Shady Rays.
All right, buddy. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. All right. Lots to do still. Baldy coming up. He did the game for national radio yesterday. So he was in New Orleans. We'll get Baldy's take on what transpired. That's coming up in about 20 minutes. But we got some people on the line.
Oh, nice.
All right, I love it. All right, one of my favorites from the old radio days. Yeah, that's right. My man, Coach Mike. Coach Mike. What's up, buddy?
Yo, cuz, what's up, man?
Looking good, buddy.
How you been?
We're
I'm
doing
good, and you?
pal.
Man, I miss you. How you been?
Good, buddy. We're doing great, man. Welcome to
Man,
PHLY.
I want to tell you, man, stay optimistic. Even though we got a bonehead of a coach, stay optimistic. You know why? We had an answer for the blitz. Even that incompletion to Gainwell, at least it was an answer from Jalen Hurts on that blitz. There was the one time the slot was blitzing, he got it out to Covey right away.
Yep.
We're actually seeing progression from even the fumble from Hurts. We need him to fix that up. We need him to clean that up. But even that fumble from Hurts, you know why I'm optimistic? For the longest time, I've been saying, I want to see Hurts climb the pocket and move to his left. I want to see him climb the pocket and move to his left. And even later on in the game, he did
He
so.
moved to his left, and he hit Devonta when he went to his left.
Yes, yes.
I love that because he wasn't bailing to his right. He moved to his left and hit Devonta on the play.
That is progress. Even though he had that
I
fumble, we
agree.
need to clean that up. That is something that I wanted to see. I saw Vic Fangio say, I don't care what Howie says. I'm going to play my people. I don't care how much money Huff is getting. I'm going to put Graham on the edge. I'm going to put Zach Bond on the edge. And we were able to shore up the edges to stop that outside zone for most of the game when we were in that 5-man front. And even a couple times we were in a 4-man front.
Awesome.
I was happy to see that.
He knows it, Coach Mike.
I was happy to see our D tackles twisting so we can free up Jalen Carter on some rushes. I was happy to see that. I was happy to see on that last play when they hit Derek Carr and he threw the pick, we set 5. It wasn't like the Atlanta game where we just set 4. So I'm seeing adults in the room. I'm seeing some good decision making from the coordinators and from Jalen. We just got to get over Sirianni. We got to get over that guy somehow. But I'm seeing the progression.
Coach
Yes,
Mike,
sir.
as a coach, can they overcome this over the long haul? Can you keep overcoming the head coach being a buffoon sometimes?
They can and they will. And I'll tell you 2 reasons why. There comes a point in time when the coach is going to look towards his players that keep bailing him out. He's the one who had admitted at the end of the game, oh, they told me they had my back, that they bailed me. There comes a point in time when a man just looks in the mirror and goes, I need to listen to these guys more than listening to whatever's going on in my head. And I think if you go back and watch the film, the TV broadcast, on the 4th down call, Jalen said something to him and Nick said something back. You could tell Jalen didn't like that call. I feel like the next time something like that happens, he's going to lean on his player rather than leaning on himself, or at least lean on his coordinator. Because in no world where there's 13 seconds left on the clock, you have 1 timeout, you're down. In no football instance should you have gone for it. In no football instance. Like, let's say you go for it. It's a running play. You got to get up and spike the ball, do something. You only got 10 seconds. What, 1 shot? at the end zone when the other team knows you're taking one shot? No. Lean on your players, lean on your coordinators. I believe that the progression that we see will overcome the coaching because, to be honest, he doesn't have much power other than some of those in-game decision-making calls. And I feel like that will sort itself out later on in the season. But I'm optimistic.
Let me throw this in because listen, I feel you. And again, we also have to remember that AJ Brown's going to be back at some point, right? So,
correct.
That's a big deal. The one thing that frustrates me about Sirianni is that I don't think, and even Kellen Moore to some extent, I don't think they realize their identity. And their identity is a team that's a downhill running team. They have a great O-line, right? In the run game, they blow off that defense. They blow the defense line off the ball. Just embrace who you are. You don't need to go put up 40 a game. You got a run game. You got a great running back.
To be honest, I knew this was going to be this way in the beginning of the season. I was very hesitant to call this team a Super Bowl team right off the bat because whenever you have a new offensive coordinator who's jumping into a situation, the offense never just takes off like a Ferrari 0 to 60 real quick. It takes time for the players to understand the coordinator and vice versa to understand the players. And I believe as the season continues and goes on, Kellen Moore is going to rely a little bit more on Saquon in the running game. Let's be real. Moore is a pass-first guy, just like Sirianni. Moore being a quarterback himself, he's going to lean in that direction. But I think he's going to lean also to where he sees the success. And the success right now is through number 26. I mean, hands down, right? So I think especially that Lane is down now. We don't know how many weeks that's going to be. And with receiver 1, receiver 2 down, I think that's going to force his hand to play a lot more 2 tight ends, to play a lot more under center, to lean more on the run game. And why not when the person who scores all 15 of your points is your running back?
Hey, look, to your point, if they were forced to use Goedert yesterday, and look what happened.
So I feel like by default, thank God we won that game because it almost feels like a loss the way we're talking about it. You can learn from the bad wins too. Yeah, and listen, let me ask. I don't think it was,
just to clarify, I don't think it was a bad win, right? Like there was a lot of great. I started the show with a lot of good, and look around the league, Coach Mike. You see it. There's a lot of flawed teams in this conference.
Look at Tampa Bay, lay that egg, right? There's a lot of teams that we thought were going to be doing great things, and they're sputtering right now. And let me ask you guys this question. When a team blocks a punt, what's the percentage of the time they win, an NFL team?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. They overcame that.
90%. 90% of NFL teams, look that up, 90% of NFL teams that block a punt win. And we overcame that with great defense. And we overcame a coach that tried to lose the game. I think Sirianni had the under yesterday. Don't put me down on saying that, but I think he had the under. There's no way that we're down 30 yards out, don't kick the field goal, but then we're up 60 yards out, 7-6 at the end of the game, and we try that. That's literally opposite of football sense. It was good talking to you, cuz.
What a pleasure having you back, baby. You're the man, brother.
I'll catch you guys later, okay?
What a pleasure, man. Great seeing you, buddy.
You too. Bye now.
Coach Mike checking in. Yeah, again, you want to chime in, you talk to Andrew, right? Andrew, what's your best way to get you?
Yeah, you can just email me at andrew@allphly.com. That's andrew@allphly.com.
And we always like it has that cool TMZ look where we get our listeners chime in, our viewers.
We got some handsome viewers and listeners.
How about
everybody looks good?
Yeah, it's fantastic. All right, let's take a quick look around the league, and then don't forget Baldy in 10 minutes. But I brought this up to Coach Mike, and the conference is flawed. It's a bizarre. It's the way this league is, right? Mm-hmm. Through 3 weeks, you have no idea who's good, who's not good. It's a crazy league. So yesterday, the game of the day that just shocked me was the Vikings over the Texans, 34-7, and I did not see that coming. Brad talked about Brian Flores. He had a great play. He completely frustrated the Texans' offense.
That he did.
I don't understand what's going on with this Vikings offense. With
Darnold MVP.
Like, what the?
When you have Justin Jefferson, it doesn't matter
And the
who's
kid
the
Naylor
quarterback.
is awesome.
Yeah. Where'd the hell? Yeah.
Well, you
I
talked
took a
about
beating
it.
financially on that game.
You talked about it, cuz coaching wins in this league.
Yeah. Speaking of Tampa, they go down yesterday, 26-7. It wasn't even close.
What the heck happened in Tampa?
Sean Payton, they just dominated Tampa.
Came out early and quick. They were up like 14-0 in no time.
Yes. And defensively shut them down.
Yeah. I didn't even see. How did Bo Nix play?
He was 25-36 for 216 yards.
Wow. All right.
No, he played well.
Yeah.
And he actually ran the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
Scored a touchdown, I think.
Yeah, Broncos
47
are
yards
nice.
rushing.
Yeah.
What do you say? Broncos are nice?
They looked nice
oh.
that game.
He did.
Yeah.
Listen, now I don't know what that means for Tampa because that was a complete egg.
Tampa's going to be a little irritated for next week. We'll see.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, the Bucs have not been able to find Mike Evans in the offense.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they might find him soon. I'm not going to say it's against the Eagles, but he always has
Well,
one
I
of
will
those
say
big
this.
games.
I
He always
mean,
has a big
one
game.
of the things I loved about the defense yesterday, because there was a ton of things to love about them, but one of the things is Kenyon Mitchell is elite.
Yeah.
Like you could see he's going to be an elite player. We
sure.
said it after week one. Like you watch him, you go, this kid, and I know he got picked on a little bit
Right.
In Atlanta during that last drive. He is, once he gets his feet in the NFL, he's a star. Yeah, I love Kenyon Mitchell.
Looks great early so far.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest position to play as a rookie.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
I mean, yeah, he looks great.
Giants somehow went, man, Deshaun Watson stinks.
Man,
Talk about
He
fall-offs.
just stinks.
talk about karma. Because
Oh,
he's a creep who stinks.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Giants win. That was a shocker.
Yeah, I wasn't a believer in Devin Singletary, but he's having a pretty good year up there.
Carolina, you put Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, and they're just all of a sudden,
It's a great name.
Deontay Johnson.
Suddenly, everyone's all these fantasy guys are telling you Deontay Johnson, and I drafted him and dropped him, and now he looks like a Jerry Rice.
Apparently, I was seeing some things over the weekend about potential Bryce Young trades. Some teams were looking into him. I don't know who would want him, but
Listen,
You're
that
not
kid's
going to trade now.
that kid's in
No.
a bad situation.
Yeah,
a ton
no.
of new coaches, and he just needs some time to sit and learn.
Yeah, and you're not going to trade him now. There's no need to trade him now. I mean, you know that's an off season. You hope somebody takes a flyer on a reclamation, but he's a disaster.
That's incompetence by the Panthers, so the way they've handled Bryce Young.
Yeah,
2
I
years.
agree.
Totally.
Terrible franchise.
Colts, they beat the Bears yesterday.
That's an ugly game.
Ugly,
really
21-16. Steelers, 20-10.
Herbert
My
knocked
man
out.
Joe Ben is all excited.
You
20-10.
a Steelers fan?
He's a stone Steeler fan.
Yeah.
that
Yinzers.
defense, man.
Is he loud though? Because my best buddy's a Steelers fan from Pittsburgh. He's quiet. He's scared to get braggadocious yet.
Nah, listen. He knows it's a sore subject
Yeah.
because he's a South Philly guy, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's a sore subject, and he's a Steeler fan. And then he made Sammy, my godson, a Steeler fan.
Oh,
my
man.
God.
I mean,
But-
Dobbins with 15 carries, 44 yards. They shut that down.
But they're good. It's funny. The Steelers, I always you always have a soft spot for them in the sense that you like the way they play. Like they play the game. Like their defense is ridiculous.
They have an identity.
Yeah.
Good fans. No cheerleaders.
Great coaching.
Right.
Great
Always
CEO coaching.
Yes.
Always develop good
Yes.
receivers.
Yeah.
Defense keeps you in games. It travels.
Yeah, that's the truth. Seattle all over the
Hey, what
Dolphins
is
are
that?
lost, man.
The Seattle 3-0.
Yeah, they're a Fugazi.
I believe that too.
Yeah, they're a Fugazi. Their defense, and now again, how much are you going to make with Skylar Thompson
Right.
with the Dolphins? But still, their defense playing well, and Charbonneau played well. They can run it. They have two running backs, and Walker's hurt.
Right.
Lions over the Cardinals. Their defense showed up yesterday. Detroit's I've been saying it's the best team in the conference. They're the team I'm afraid of the most.
For sure.
I didn't understand this game. The Niners are up 21-7, and the Rams come storming back. Tyron Williams.
Hey, my dogs. I had dogs over in case we had time. We have video of what LA Rams, what that stadium looked like.
It's bad, dude.
For a home game for the Rams. Can you throw that up?
I can grab it. Yep.
It is insane. Insane. Like
they have no home field.
I can't. Yeah,
the Rams.
They don't care about it.
No, they don't. Why would you if you live in LA?
Look at all the red.
Oh my
the
God.
entire state is red.
It's all Niners.
All Niners fans. The Rams home game.
But I also have to think that before the Rams arrived there,
the entire building
Look
is
at that.
But it's like that for a lot of the big NFL fan bases. That's what
They
happens
always say,
there.
Eagle fans.
Yeah, it was green.
Always the infamous game where Wentz gets hurt.
Yeah.
You remember the game was in LA?
Yeah, Coliseum.
You remember that storyline that Fox had to call a casting agency in Hollywood to get Rams fans. They were paying people, actors, to act like Rams fans. so the opening of the show wasn't just Eagle Nation.
It's bad. I saw like a street interview with Rams fans. Like they don't even know who Eric Dickerson is.
No, they don't. They're too tall.
Well, a lot of them are transplants
That's
too.
who.
They're not from there and they're born and raised.
But the Chargers go through the same thing too. When they play the Raiders, it's all black and
They
red.
should never have left San Diego. That's a disgrace.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Who he's in for traveling to E-Rock from PHLY
best,
Chief Seats. He's shared a tweet. This woman, Shani Bordelon, she's from New Orleans. Saints fan here, and I want to thank all the Eagles fans who are such great patrons of our local businesses while they were in NOLA. One of my friend who works on Bourbon Street said y'all were the most generous and fun group of fans she's ever served.
That's
what we are,
fantastic.
yeah.
Love that. And then finally, last night, Chiefs.
Chiefs getting
And
some,
we
getting
talked
the call.
about
They get some nice calls, the Chiefs.
Scary good.
get some next calls.
Nice
Nice
calls
calls.
with the refs, you know.
The pass interference stuff.
Yeah, they always
I
find
mean-
a PI to give the Chiefs.
Nah, the last drive, the Falcons had 3 first downs by penalty.
Man, do they have some offensive weapons?
Atlanta?
No.
The
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Come on.
Well, you hate the Chiefs?
I don't love the Chiefs.
I'm not saying you gotta love them, but yeah,
Do I dislike them? I dislike them. I respect them, but I dislike them.
Yeah, I get that. All right, that's and then of course we have the 2 games tonight. Hey, let's talk about a couple things. One, before you tell us about game time, I got to ask you, dude, did you? How was it? How was it on Sunday or Saturday at the Parks Casino PA Derby?
That was awesome, and so here's the thing, like that was my first experience in horse racing. I've never been to anything like that, and it was such a cool experience. I was in the stable checking them out. Phil Martelli was there. He was happy to hear that you're back talking to people on a digital platform, though. Skip was there. Charlie Manuel got to talk to a little bit of Brad Lidge, but it was just cool being in that
you did
environment.
a great job on social media.
Appreciate it.
Our favorite closer, Lidge looks great, man. It was awesome.
He does look great.
He's ready to
handsome
play
man.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
He's ready to play.
yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah, it was a great team. Like they do such a good job.
They do.
Parks Casino was so much fun. In fact, I'll be there Wednesday, Andrew and I, because we'll be doing our Big Brain Cousins Corner at 5:00 from Parks Casino. Looking forward to it. Parks Casino. This is how you win. The #1 casino in Pennsylvania. Street Road exit off of 95 in the PA Turnpike. The Excite Center. State-of-the-art entertainment. Venue inside Parks Casino in Bucks County in the Philadelphia suburbs. Named one of the best places for concerts and comedy. Tickets on sale right now. This Thursday, September 26th, Joe Bartnick from the Bill Burr Podcast. He joins Joe Conklin. October 4th, the Juicy Scoop Podcast. And Heather McDonald from Bravo and Chelsea Lately will be there. The podcast, Are You Garbage? Live on December 13th. Comedian Eric D'Alessandro, December 14th. So all kinds of big names. Parks Casino, this is how you win. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. You're going to be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I love it. Guess where I'm going to be, ladies and gentlemen? We going down to Citizens Bank Park, watching the Fightins.
The clincher.
The clincher.
Clinch.
And we're hoping, and I'm so excited. But listen, there's only one way I'm going to go to this game, all right? That's with the Game Time app, ladies and gentlemen. I already texted my wife. I was like, babe, I'm going to make some wraps tonight. We're going to go down to the ballpark. We're going to chill in the parking lot. And then an hour before, we're going to go to Game Time, and we're going to do what everyone is doing right now. You don't want to miss out on this, all right? Because when you download the free app through Game Time, we actually have people saving up to 60% off on last-minute tickets. And that's why I'm going to do it, because we're all trying to save a buck here, right? I know you are as well. So you need to make sure that you guys have the Game Time app on your side. All right? Download that free app. Check out the seats here for tonight. My favorite part is that you could see your seats before the purchase. So you know exactly what you're looking for. And then the fees. The fees are the big part. You don't have that surprise at the checkout page with $1,000 worth of fees, right? You'll see what you're going to pay right from the jump. Hit the checkout page, and boom, it's seamless, ladies and gentlemen. It is seamless. And right now, as always, we have you hooked up with that promo code. Use the promo code PHLY after you create an account first. Use the promo code PHLY on your tickets. That'll get you $20 off. That's beer money right there, ladies and gentlemen, all right? So catch me down there at Citizens Bank Park, and let's all of us enjoy some savings there on our tickets. And thank you to our friends over at the Game Time app.
All right. Coming up shortly, we'll talk to Baldy. This portion of the program brought to us by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. That's right. Check out the TrueMark difference, TrueMark.com/PHLY. Well, listen, we're going to get to Baldy. We'll go a little bit deeper, but there was a lot to feel good about.
I agree.
Listen, it's a long season. We're in week 3. There's certain things they can bump up that you feel better about, including on defense and all. But let's get to him, because he was in NOLA and he saw this game live, called it as he does. No one better, the great Baldy.
Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Baldy. Oh, he likes pizza and football. Oh, Bull.
That's still the greatest. Piazza and Baldy hanging fresh out of NOLA. How was NOLA?
It always delivers, cuz. It always delivers. Just the atmosphere, the football fans. LSU's playing on Saturday night. Saints are playing on Sunday. There's nothing like the Dome. The atmosphere it feels like it's a playoff game. The food, the people, the Eagle fans. It was an electric place, man, for 24 hours.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. All right, let's get to the game itself. Just, before we get into specifics, give us your general overview.
Well, the defense showed up, really showed up. And they look like what they can be. They covered well. Jalen Carter was an unblockable force. Jordan Davis, everybody. Zach Bond leads the NFL in tackles. The guy made one stop after another. It was great. You look at the rookie out there playing on the corner against a guy that averaged 25 yards a catch in Rashid Shaheed. He came out of there with nothing, not one catch. They affected Derek Carr all the way to the end. So the defense played, and then they played a completely different front. I give credit to Vic Fangio. They stemmed late. They played a 6-man front. They played a diamond. They kept mixing it up. And then I think offensively, look, they moved the ball. And they won the game on 2 plays. They won the game on a 65-yard run by Saquon, who literally was told me before the game, like, I'm going to break one, Baldy. Like, I'm close. It's up to me. Like, the Lions give me my splits, but I'm making my move too soon. I got to press the corner more and then make the move. And it's exactly what he did. And then, obviously they had great success on their crossing routes against man coverage. I have no idea why the Saints were in man coverage on 3rd and 16 with a minute to go, but they were. And Lattimore and Harris run into each other, and Goedert goes, almost to the house. So, and look, the quarterback is turning the ball over, but that was a lousy route by Devonta Smith, another lousy route, lazy route in front of the biggest thief in this league in Tyrann Mathieu. And look, the fumble is on him. The fumble is on him. Like, the Lane Johnson just got dinged and it got concussed the play before by Saquon. He's out there against Grady out there on the edge. He's got him 11 yards deep. And I don't know why I didn't take the flat route. It's wide open. Just take the flat. Like you don't need to be holding it like that. So he's got to cut that down. But he played well otherwise. I mean, you're throwing to Paris Campbell and Britton Covey, and your top 3 receivers are on the sideline. I mean, it's a heck of a win. I mean, it's just a great win. That's a good team in a tough atmosphere, and to come off a short week like that I don't know. Hats off to the Eagles.
Yeah, it's funny because the only thing that has people rankled today is the decision making from Sirianni. Because, like, we asked Fangio to come out and out scheme, right? He came in with a great game plan, right?
Yeah.
And it was well executed. Like we'll talk specifics more with the defense, but they come up and show up big, and this offense depleted. Right, and they're able to grind it out. So normally everybody would be excited, except you feel like you had to defeat your head coach.
Well, I mean, look, let's just look at 2 decisions, okay? Like, you got 13 seconds to go in the half. It's a 3-0 game. It's all defense at this point. Eagles overcoming turnovers with the play of their defense. You're 4th and 1 at the 15. You walked a field goal kicker out till you kicked the field goal. You got 1 timeout left. Even if you get the first down on 4th, what's that game?
1 shot. Right.
What you're going to have to take the timeout. So you're going to take a shot to the end zone. The Saints are literally going to put 8 guys in the end zone because they don't care what you do. You as long as they tackle the catch, they're not going to score. So what's the point of going for it? And then you're 4th and 4 at the 34. The top of the 3rd quarter right there. It's the opening drive. It's 3-0 game. You got a 51-yard field goal. Put your field goal kicker out there and just go tie the game up. It's early in the 3rd quarter. The defense is playing great. What's the point on 4th and 4 right there? And he had no play. I mean, he had no play on that play. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Like we saw it last week. I feel like because he's chasing points. I mean, like you don't make it in the 1st quarter. All right, we'll go for 4th down in the 3rd quarter. You're going to win a lot of games by just taking what the defense is giving you.
Well, the other decision too, which I don't want to get lost, I don't want to lose, is you go for a 60-yard field goal. You have taken the lead, right? You're up 7-6.
Play field position.
Exactly. Your defense is playing great. Why would you risk a 60-yard field goal and you're only up 1 and giving the Saints a ball at midfield?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, look, it was look, I know he can make it. He's made a 61-yarder, helped beat the Giants one day. I know it. He made one last year against Buffalo, helped beat Buffalo. I know that. But I don't know. Like, to me, way your defense is playing, it's a field position game. And so just be smart about, just be in the moment. Forget about all the analytics in the world. Just coach in the moment right there. And so they're real questionable right there. They had to overcome the coach, overcome some turnovers, and, you lose the right side of your offensive line. You lose Devonta. I mean, you lose Slay. I mean, you can't lose a whole lot more starters than they did. And to come out of there with the win is just amazing to me.
It is amazing. I'm completely with you. It was just weird. Jimmy Johnson said it on Fox, the great coach, just play the game the way it's supposed to be played. I mean, that was his message to the Eagles, which is like, guys, like, what are you doing? I mean, there's a reason why you and I talk about it all the time, that especially when you have this kind of team. You have a team. I don't think Sirianni understands the identity of his own team, which is it's Barkley, it's a downhill run team, right? Especially with no A.J. Brown. It's not like 2022 where, 4th and 3, you were picking that stuff up, 4th and 4. You don't have that. You got to play the game the way it should be played.
I would even go a little further, cuz here. Like, just get rid of the RPOs. Get rid of the quarterback options. Like, you got Saquon. And Lane's never played better than he's played. We'll see what happens to Mekhi here. Like, he's had trouble staying on the field. But, like, Cam's playing great. Landon's playing great. Malad has been unbelievable. Like, they're playing great. And Goedert can block. So Calcaterra. Like, you've got a run game, a real run game. You don't need, like, I don't know what's going on with Jalen. Like, he doesn't look nearly as fast as he used to be. He's still picking up some yards, but, like, you don't need those plays right now. You got a running back you can give to 20 times, and he's going to pierce you a bunch. He's going to get you 100. Like, I just think you can clean a lot of this stuff up right now. Kellen Moore is calling a good game for the most part. He's calling a pretty good game. I don't know. Like, I don't think you get, when AJ gets back and Devonta gets out, I don't think you need to get too fancy with any of this stuff right now.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. And how about how good the right side, Tyler Steen and Fred Johnson played when the big side goes out?
Well, look, you got to give credit to Jeff Stoutland here. He's out there before the game every week, every game, not Sunday, every Sunday. He's working with every single guy because the Saints are a big stunt and slanting team. So he's working with Landon and Mulata on these stunts. And the way that Landon Dickerson blocked the play for Saquon's touchdown run is exactly what they were working on. Like, he steps with Cam and he takes care of the slanting one technique. Then he bounces out to Mulata and he takes the end, and the crease just gets big for Saquon to hit 100 miles an hour. Like, that guy's working with every single, like, starters, backups, keeping them ready so that when they get that chance, it's hard losing two starters. The Saints lost two starters for a while. They lost Caesar. They lost their center. It affected them for sure. But no, that's Stoutland right there at his best.
Yeah, he's sensational. Let's talk about defense for a second. And I mean, we've said it, right? Jalen Carter can be just a game wrecker, and you saw it yesterday. He was all over the field. Like, he's sometimes unblockable.
So, his agent is Drew Rosenhaus. So I see Drew on the sidelines, before the game. I go over, say hello to Drew, and he goes, and then he calls Jalen over. He's warming up out there. So, hey, you know this guy? Yeah, I know Jalen, man. Like, I go, if he does something good today, Drew, like, he's going to be featured tomorrow. He goes, oh, yeah. He's going to have a good game. He was unbelievable. He was unreal. Like, honestly, he abused. There's so many plays that he made. Forget about the batted balls, the pressures, the way that the violence that he plays the game with is. And then if you had to construct a defensive tackle, like, Fletcher was awesome for 10, 12 years, whatever it was. He's stronger than Fletcher. He's stronger than Fletcher, and he's faster than Fletcher. Like, this guy is a wrecker. And now you combine, Jordan played really well. This Thomas Booker is a player, man. He's a player. Like, they've got themselves a good rotation inside. Milton Williams, like, they got a good rotation right now. And they really mixed up their fronts a bunch, and it bothered the Saints offense all day.
Then what happened? It's amazing because Jordan Davis flashed like somebody got to him, right? Because you could see it. We played with urgency and some giddy up.
Well, the thing about Jordan, he's not going to play a lot of plays. Like, like Jalen Carter played 51 out of 58 plays. All right, I mean, played almost the whole game. Yeah, which is rare for any defensive tackle, but he's just that good. So they had a good rotation with Davis, with Booker, with Milton Williams. So now you've got a real rotation there. All right. And so now Jordan Davis can stay fresh. Okay. He get himself a sack, get some pressure, get off blocks. I think he still has to mentally play through the fatigue because I don't believe he's in bad shape. I don't. I know he's lost weight. I know he's committed. I know he wants to be good. But I think he just has to gradually start going, okay, I'm playing 50% of the plays. I'm going to get to 55 or 60%. If he could get to 60% of the snaps right now and play like he did yesterday, then you have the kernels of really good defense because Zach Bond and Nakobe were just flying yesterday. Blowing up everything. They played really
Booker
good.
too. I like Booker as a rotational tackle.
No question. I talked to him before the game. Like, first of all, you have to recognize, like, this kid's a Stanford kid.
Yeah.
He's 6'5". He's 305. He's got length. he's a naturally good pass rusher. He's got naturally long arms. He knows how to use them. He's a smart, good football player. I don't know what I asked him. I don't know what the Texans were doing last year and why they released him, because he was a 5th-round pick. It wasn't like he was off the street. 5th-round pick out of Stanford. He's a smart kid, but he played 9 snaps the week before. He had 3 solo tackles. I knew he was going to get more in the rotation. I think they found themselves a real player, and he's going to help this team out.
And you brought up the linebackers. I like the little tweak what Vic did. He moved Bond closer to the line of scrimmage. N'Kobe. I mean, those two, like you said it, Bond's a tackling machine, right? N'Kobe's fine. You can see he's getting his legs, man. You can see he's starting to feel confident. He's playing. He understands. He's freer. And you can see that means he's around the ball.
Well, he will flat out blow you up. Like, he is a hitter. Like, he smacks people good. He's not a big guy, but he can smack you. Zach Bond is an amazing player. Like, he spent 4 years in New Orleans. He never really figured out what his position was. I know this, though. If you want linebackers, just go to Wisconsin. Like, they turn them out every year.
Yeah.
Nick Herbig in Pittsburgh now, Leo Chenal, TJ. Like, the whole league is, like, filled with Wisconsin linebackers. They cross-train them. They play them outside. They play them inside. You play in the Big Ten. You see good running teams. Like, they just train these kids. And you get on the field at Wisconsin, you better be able to get off blocks. And that kid can get off the block.
Hey, Baldy, we saw the D-line of the Eagles just feasting yesterday in those 5 and 6 people fronts. Is there a reason? Do you think the Saints didn't make any adjustments, or Kubiak didn't? Was there something he could have done to get them out of those 5 and 6 man fronts?
Well, they went there to stop the run and to stop the stretch play. So they hadn't played like that. The Eagles haven't played that front because they haven't played a team that is relying that much on their stretch plays, especially when they go left. And that's where Zach Bond was. Because they're a left-handed team. Fuaga's a great player. They lost their center, which hurt. So took their starting left guard, put him at center. He's a better left guard than center. So they weakened the whole group up there when they lost Eric McCoy. But regardless, they were saying, like, we're not going to let you – Kamara's not going to beat us. And that's what the whole – now, could you have thrown the ball better when they take that run away? Probably. But, they defended Rashid Shaheed as well as you have. Like you saw, Olave had a couple of his catches. He's a good player. They didn't throw to any of the tight ends yesterday, which seemed a little bizarre to me. So they basically said, well, Kamara's not beating us. And then, you saw what Quinion did against Rashid Shaheed, or what Slay did in the end zone against them. I mean, they shut him out. And this guy that's averaging 25 yards a catch.
Hey, the inner workings of a team better than anybody. What advice would you give Sirianni? Like, if you're thinking about, like, and it almost feels like he's trying to find his place. I don't know how I can explain it, but you could see him. He's kind of off kilter. What advice would you say? Because it feels like he's pressing.
I think you're right, cuz I do. Now, I don't know how much he's listening to their analytics team. They've got a whole squad of analytics people. I don't know, like something like Doug Peterson told me when he was there, like they were making decisions on to go for it on 4th down, whatever, on Wednesdays. They were making these kind of decisions, which is, when I heard that from Doug, he wasn't making that up.
No.
Like, it seemed bizarre to me. Like maybe your right tackle isn't in the game. Maybe your top 3 receivers are on the sideline. Maybe those things should impact you when you make these calls. But, when you say he's got to find his way, like, okay, he's not a play caller. Kellen Moore's calling his offense. Vic's upstairs calling his defense. Stout's over there taking care of the offense line, blitz pickup, all that stuff. Like, his job, honestly, is to make smart decisions. Like, you don't have to overthink this stuff. Like, you don't have to pretend like you're something you're not. There's some coaches in this league, that's what they do. DeMeco Ryans, basically calls the game. There's you look at, I don't know, let me just think of a guy here that isn't involved, offensively or defensively, that's a good coach. That's
Harbs and Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin, perfect. Okay, good call. Like Tomlin's not calling any defense. He's not calling any. He's making decisions though. He's playing smart football in a tight game yesterday against the Chargers. He's making. You lose Highsmith. You lose your rookie right tackle and Fontenot. You got to make smart decisions in a tight game. Like he's making those decisions.
Yeah, even Harbaugh. I mean, look at John. I mean,
Yeah.
and John's the same way. Manages the game. Like he's got two good coordinators, and he's managing the game, and he's in it. And I almost feel like that's where Sirianni needs to kind of look at, because it's like he's trying so hard. Like the guy is dying. Like he loves it. He's dying. He wants badly, but he's just swimming. And the one thing we've seen, Baldy, through the first 3 weeks is that there's no great teams in the NFC. There's some really great stories, and Darnold in Minnesota, and Detroit's very good. Yeah. But this whole conference is
yeah. But I mean, this is September. It's September. I mean, nobody plays it so it's a new August. We say it all the time. And so, Dallas was terrible yesterday. They can't stop the run 2 weeks in a row. The Giants played their asses off yesterday. Daniel Jones played much better. Malik Neighbors is a complete stud. He's AJ.
He's great.
He's AJ. He's AJ. He's just a stud. The guy's on. He's their AJ Brown right now, and Daniel Jones is better. But yes, you will see Washington tonight. But you can go around the whole conference right now. San Francisco, I mean, that's a home game in LA when they play the Rams, and they let the Rams go down the field. I don't even know who's playing for the Rams. Like, everybody's out. But Stafford is just as tough as they come. So, it's September. There's so much football. All you're trying to do right now is just get as many W's as you can, any way you can. You got to go to New Orleans and win 15-12. You win 15-12. You overcome some turnovers, some questionable decisions. At the end of the day, it's a conference win, which counts. Like when you get late in the year, when you're looking at tie breaks and all that stuff, it's a short week. You're on the road. You overcome a sickening loss on Monday night. You get a great plane ride home, going back. You just embrace this one.
Did you do Tampa yet? I'm curious.
I haven't seen them. No, I haven't watched.
I mean, that was.
They clearly took the Broncos lightly, and Bo Nix played the game of his life.
Yeah,
and I'll see him this week, Denver against the Jets. But that's not who they have been by any stretch. And so I'll get to it, but I have a feeling like they're not going to play like they did in Detroit the week before.
Yeah. No, I feel you, brother. Listen, thanks so much. I know you're busy on Mondays. Thanks so much. You were at the game. No one's better. And meet Locker Thursday.
You got it, buddy. I look forward to it, man. I'll talk to you guys later this week. See you, man.
Baldy. Check it in. And I listen, I spot on. I think Sirianni just needs to step back and, dude, relax.
Can he? Does he have that personality?
I don't know. I don't know. Again, those decisions feel like out of their desperation, like he's lost.
Never seen a head coach who's just so he needs to step away from everything else. I've never seen that before.
Well, I think he just needs to find his path, his role.
True.
What is his role in this team? I don't know. Even the news conference where he's really highly emotional. Now I know he's an emotional guy, and it's great. I appreciate that, but I mean, he's completely it almost felt like Ted Lasso, like he was channeling Ted Lasso.
You want to play it before we get out of here?
Yeah. Let's go. I know you made it a nug.
It's just good to have, I think.
Yes.
Good to hear what he has to say.
I mean, he feels. You got it? Let's hear it. We'll kind of break it down.
Do you want the clubhouse one or his?
When he's Nick's awesome. Nick's great. Nick's a winner.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is a winner. He's a winner. He wins. He's the most poised human being I've ever been around in my life. He doesn't get flustered. Never too high, never too low. And to be honest, only being around him for however many months, learn a lot from him as a player and as a man too. So he knows it's the sum of all the plays that says who you are, not just one play that everyone's going to talk about. It's not just one play. It's the sum of all plays. And he's the quarterback, and this guy is a freaking winner. He won at Alabama. He won at Oklahoma. He's been he's been winning here over and over and over and over. And you know what? We're the Philadelphia Eagles, so we understand we're going to get criticism. But this dude's a freaking winner. Jalen Hurts is a winner, and he won today.
You can make a drinking game out of this.
Oh
How many
my
times
God,
do you
are
want to take a
kidding me with
shot?
this?
I mean, it was just ridiculous. I mean, just dude.
First of all, everybody wins at Oklahoma and Alabama for the most part.
Well, I mean, yes.
Baker Mayfield.
And the other thing too is like you don't need to go ode to Jalen after yesterday. If anything, I would have gave ode to the defense.
Exactly.
Right?
Big fan,
You're like
Joe.
you want to go ode to Jalen Carter,
For sure.
who won you the game yesterday. And that's where the ode to belongs. He just feels like he's trying way too hard.
It's like, oh, we're in Philadelphia. We're going to get criticized.
Well, that's the other thing. It's in his head. It's in his head.
Yes.
Like he brought up one of the, elsewhere in the news conference, he talked about, well, nobody thought we'd win, and everybody said that the Georgia boys were worthless and all this stuff. It's like, dude, nobody was saying that. First of all, everyone was upset about the defense. And rightly so. Like, you have to understand where they're coming from. Like, instead of having the rabbit ears and kind of wanting to push back, this is where you have to show maturity and understand. All right, listen, we didn't play well. Like, all you got to do is agree. Go, listen, we got to play well. Got to play better. Our kids are. I believe in Jalen Carter. I believe in Jordan Davis. They'll play better. We'll get them to play better. Like, that's the appropriate answer. But he's like keeping score. And you never win by keeping score with the fans. I mean, I saw Rich Kotite do that.
Oof. But also, like, you're picking and choosing what you're focusing on. Did he not? All right, so we know they pay attention. Did he not see any videos of the hundreds and thousands of Eagles fans on Bourbon Street doing Eagles chants and they're doing a parade down another city's streets? Like, no, people are down there expecting you to win.
No,
they're not anti you at all.
Like, in fact, it's the opposite, right? Like you can't sit there and cry us against the town. The town hates us.
Yeah.
BS. It does
Total
not.
BS.
I think that's his main problem. Like, I think he's just way too emotional. And when we're talking about all these decisions he's making within the game,
Well,
it feels like it's all
too.
emotional.
And he's hearing everything. Like,
Yeah.
he's hearing stuff.
You can't
He's
coach like
watching
that.
stuff. Like, that's the one thing where he's got to go back into a bubble.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to talk to you guys. I need to know what's going on. Actually, Nick, you really don't. Like, Andy Reid was the best at being so, because he knew, like, this is all nonsense. Like, it doesn't belittle what fans and media say, but he's the one inside, right? So Andy's idea was always, listen, it's noise. Just block it out.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll take the fall, all right? I got to do a better job. And people hated to hear that.
Yeah.
But he knew that, like, he didn't care about, putting on a display for a press conference.
Yeah.
It was what it was. Like, and he understood. He also understood that the passion and the love, the unconditional love, like, we don't need to keep talking about the unconditional love that Philadelphia has for all of its teams, let alone the Eagles. Come on. This town loves this team more than anybody, right? So stop.
And when you're in those relationships, you vent and you say stuff. It doesn't mean you're anti the person you love or anything.
And this is where he needs to have somebody in his life to pull him aside and tell him to wake the bleep up.
Yeah.
He really does. Like, listen, it's salvageable.
Yeah.
The
No,
whole
for
thing.
sure.
The season is still, you're 2-1. You got a big win, right? Like, listen, there's a long way to go. You'll get AJ back. You'll get healthy. This conference is not like great teams. This conference, like, you could do, this is entirely, you can make a run.
He's just got to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Like,
And be a part of the solution to it.
Yes.
And there's a way to manage it. Anyway,
I mean, even like
going
when
to do it for us.
When he's talking about the fourth down, right? Like, I don't need to hear him, saying that's all me and apologizing. Just don't do it again.
Yeah, again, there's a way to handle it. You got to handle it. Anyway, Andrew, great job as always.
Andrew.
All right, everybody, we love you. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.